This case will not be prosecuted by news releases laying out our case to further excite the public. We will properly do our work in a courtroom setting with the circuit judge presiding to provide a fair trial for the defendant. Remember, this indictment is not proof of guilt. It is a grand jury finding and accusation. The defendant is cloaked with a presumption of innocence and has a right to a jury trial. She deserves not to be tried by news conference, and our bounden duty as prosecutors is to come forth and produce the evidence and seek justice in a courtroom. I'm not going to further comment on the process, and I will not comment on evidence in the case. After Sheriff Berry is done, our news conference will be concluded, but at this point I want to introduce our sheriff, my friend Kevin Berry.
Thank you, Lawson. First and foremost, I would like to make it clear that we are not here to rejoice in today's grand jury indictment. We are, however, pleased that the ladies and gentlemen serving on that jury were able to hear the evidence presented to them by State Attorney Lamar and arrive at an informed conclusion based strictly on the evidence that was presented to them. I want to thank our State Attorney and the members of his team, which worked closely with our investigators who helped facilitate this indictment. I also want to thank the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, and of course my Criminal Investigation Division for the incredible job they have done and continue to do in this investigation. Those investigators have already invested many, many hours in this case to ensure that all the I's were dotted and the T's were crossed. And despite the charges filed against Miss Anthony today, I want to remind everyone that we have not achieved our primary objective in this investigation. We have not recovered little Caylee Anthony. We, for the sake of Caylee's grandparents, her loved ones, and those on every level who have worked in this case, will continue to do everything we possibly can to recover little Caylee. Speaking directly as a father, a day doesn't pass where I wish the evidence we have gathered in this case didn't add up to the painfully obvious. Sadly, I cannot change the facts surrounding this investigation. In closing, I ask those in the community who have taken the disappearance of little Caylee personally, I want them to respect the privacy of the Anthonys and not cause any problems out at their house. The grand jury has concluded that little Caylee is deceased and their daughter has been indicted in her death. Thank you.
Thank you all for coming.
Can I ask a question of law?
We are not going to have any questions. Thank you folks for coming.